I believe we are live. Hello and welcome to the very first Firearm Freedom live stream here on YouTube. This is an exciting one. I got to figure out where to look at the camera because this is actually my first live stream that I have done where my phone is in landscape mode, which is pretty freaking cool. So I don't exactly know how this stream is going to go, but for a little bit of an update to you guys who have never seen me live here on camera before, normally I do 2 live streams a week on the Firearm Freedom Instagram account. I am still going to be doing those 2 live streams a week on the Instagram account, but you guys voted on a poll here on YouTube with whether or not you might want to see what is up, man? Whether or not you might want to see a live stream weekly here on YouTube. So I've been doing live streams weekly on Instagram now for probably about 3 years, give or take, maybe a little bit. And for the most part, I've really loved doing them, but I want to connect to a little bit of a broader audience. I have been doing YouTube for quite some time now here on Firearm Freedom, and I've yet to do a live stream. This is the very first one here on YouTube. I actually really enjoy that you can do it actually right from your phone. So just a quick side note, I do have kind of some upgraded audio set up, you know, in the studio here. So hopefully you guys can see me. Please let me know in the comment section if something's odd with the audio and everything like that. A broader audience. Okay, I'll stop. No. Not at all, man. Not at all. So a quick heads up on how the Instagram live streams normally go and how things will differ here on YouTube. And then we're going to get into kind of like the meat of this live stream. I've been watching you for a while. Well, before my channel, love your content. Thank you so much, man. I have actually seen your channel as well. So some pretty cool videos, if I'm remembering properly. Normally on Instagram, it's a little bit more, how should I say, raw and unedited, and we get kind of crazy over on the Instagram live streams. I'm going to keep the YouTube weekly live stream on Fridays. At the moment, it's going to be on Fridays, and I'm going to keep it a little bit more PC, but we are going to be just, you know, having a little bit more fun with a less edited format where you guys can ask questions immediately. We like it raw, perfect. So if you're looking for more of like kind of hardcore politics, really cool talks about a bunch of random topics, if you don't already follow the Firearm Freedom Instagram account, definitely check it out. But one more thing before we get into the meat of this live stream here, we got a couple people watching. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and taking the time out of your day to watch here on YouTube. That is awesome. But I'm very excited because when I am trying to edit together videos and stuff like that, it may take a little bit of time, especially now with crazy ammo shortages. I actually have a couple of videos that I'm working on right as we speak, but sometimes it takes a little bit. So this will be a really cool way for me to post a video weekly regardless here on the live streams, provided that this goes well, which I'm sure it will. And this will be a way for me to kind of stay contacted with you, and also on top of that where you can live ask me questions. And that is going to move us into what the meat of this very first live stream here on YouTube is going to be, which is a live Q&A. So I posted all over the Firearm Freedom social media an open Q&A for you guys to comment underneath. I have actually written on my nice little notebook of success here all of the questions that I have compiled. Some of these questions are ones that I have pulled from like comments over the past couple of years, and just ones that I think maybe some of you on YouTube might want to hear about, maybe not. And then on top of that, I also have some viewer questions here that I got from today. So we're going to be going over a lot. It's going to kind of be all over the place, but the cool thing is now with this live chat, give us a sample. What are some of the questions? Yeah, for sure. So I'll go down the list here. How about this? I'll read you the whole list that I have, and then you guys can kind of branch off of that, whatever you would like. But these are questions that I have received at some point or another. So going down the list here, do you still work at a gun shop? That's going to be question number 1. Present, what is up, man? The next question, how do you get into the gun industry? I get that question a ton, so we're going to go over that. What got you into guns? Why did you start your channel? Other hobbies outside of the gun world, a lot of questions in that regard. What did you learn from working in a gun shop? And then also, what is your favorite gun in your collection? Get that a ton. Very, very tough one to answer, but we're going to try to do our best here in this stream. And then also, best weapon light for home defense. So we're going to be touching on that as well. But if you guys have anything where you're like, oh, I've been meaning to get this guy live to ask him some questions, feel free, ask away, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability. Try not to get too crazy down there in the comment section, but I'll definitely do my best. What are your top 5 favorite? The way the person has a chance to think of at least 3. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll branch it out to the top 5. Maybe that'll be a little bit easier for me, but we'll see what we got. Starting off with question number 1, do you still work at a gun shop? So as of right now, I actually previously worked at the main shop that I have been at for the entire time that I've been here on YouTube as Firearm Freedom for about 5 years. More recently, do guns go pew pew or bang bang? Very, very important. You are right, it's very important. I would say pew pew, but that's just me. Immediate unfollow. So, yeah, I've been working at that shop for about 5 years. I never name it, so a lot of you guys have asked in the comment section, you know, hey, some calibers go pew, some go bang bang. So a lot of you guys in the comment section generally say, hey, what shop do you work at, you know, or whatever. I hope you guys understand that generally I answer those questions with, you know, I can't really say. I try to keep my privacy, you know, very important and close to me here on the channel, just for, you know, the nature of things. I run a gun channel, so hopefully you guys get it. Maybe you don't, but that's okay. So I never say the name of it. Unfortunately, I no longer work at this gun shop. So it did not end badly or anything like that. It just simply parted ways with everything going on in the world right now. A lot of different situational things ended up happening a little bit over a month ago. So because of that, I actually no longer work at a gun shop. I am now, at the moment, doing YouTube, doing Firearm Freedom absolutely full time. So that is not going to stay permanently. I am nowhere near to the level that I could do this and survive off of the minuscule amount I get from you know, ad revenue or whatever else here on YouTube. So I will continue to put as much effort as I possibly can into this. However, it cannot be, at the moment at least. Hopefully the goal in the future will be that I can do this full time, but at the moment I just don't have the funds to do that. As a fellow former employee of said unnamed gun shop, I don't think you'll miss it at all much. Andrew, I am so happy you can finally make it to these lives. That's another side point to these lives. I wanted to do them because a lot of people, you know, would follow the channel and they don't have Instagram, or they don't, you know, they don't do a lot of stuff like that. So I want to branch out, give you guys a chance to actually see what the live streams, all the raw goodness of FF family is all about. So no, I no longer work at the gun shop. That really doesn't change too much to what you guys see here. I've learned a lot about working in the industry. We'll get into that a little bit more later on. So I had a really good experience. Is another gun shop in my future? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. You know, I might be really looking for any job at the moment to just kind of get back into the swing of things with how crazy the world is. You know, employment places is always a little bit tough during times like this, but we're getting through just fine. So next question on the list here is, how do you get into the gun industry? So a lot of people, you are and assume a salesperson. I was a salesperson at first, and then I actually went into management, you know, at that place as well, lower level management, and that's where the position that I was in for the past about 2.5, 3 years almost. So I've had a lot of experience in a bunch of different parts at a bunch of different gun shops. I'll be flipping burgers with PMags. I'll try, man. I'll try, flip them. It might be pretty cool. Do some YouTube vids about it. That's all right. So how do you get into the gun industry, right? I get this question a ton in the comments. A lot of people say, hey, I am looking to get into the gun world. You know, how do I start working at a shop? What are some tips that you have? So overall, entire experience in the gun world about 7 years. As far as working in retail gun shops and doing this channel and everything like that, the channel's been for the latter about 3.5, almost 4 years of that. So I've got a good amount of experience in getting into the gun world. And I can tell you guys, you know, a lot of people, I think, overcomplicate the amount of qualifications that you need. And I know that's probably going to sound bad instead of good, but you know, you have to remember that getting into the gun industry, right? The start of getting into the gun industry for a lot of people is generally working at a gun shop. And as far as the qualifications, you have to remember that working at a gun shop at the end of the day is working at a retail store. So the same as you going into the mall and applying to, you know, whatever clothing store or whatever like that, or, you know, working in any other form of retail, the qualifications are really going to be the same. So, you know, if you can get hired at a regular retail store, the chances of you getting hired at a gun shop are still pretty high. Now, obviously, it is preferred that you have more knowledge about firearms to work at a gun shop, but I can tell you that for the most part, for a lot of people, they actually learn a bulk of their firearms knowledge by working at a gun shop, working with people who have been in the industry for a long time, being able to work more on the gunsmithing and armory side of things to kind of learn the ins and outs of a bunch of different guns. And I can tell you guys that in my last couple of years at a gun shop, I have handled more firearms than I think I ever would have in my entire life if I didn't work at a gun shop. So I've gotten blessed to be able to buy a bunch of guns for sure, which is awesome. You guys see a bulk of those on the channel. But then on top of that, I've been able to see such cool guns coming in and out of the shop, really old firearms, new firearms, machine guns, other NFA items, a bunch of really cool stuff that I just simply would have never been able to see if I did not work in the gun industry, kind of in the front lines of things, selling guns to people. So I would highly recommend, if you're interested in getting into this is what I tell everybody, go to a corporate gun store first. Why I say that is because if you do not have quite the experience that they are looking for to, say, work the gun counter or something else, you can always start at customer service, start in footwear, start in another section of the store that maybe you would be better off in, and then work your way to the gun counter. That's actually how I started. So I started at the original Gander Mountain, and I started actually up in New York, and I started at customer service. At that point, I wasn't old enough to work at the gun counter because of all of the New York BS firearms laws, and I had to work customer service. I worked there for a couple of months. Then I went on to footwear. Not too exciting, helping people find their new boots for the week, but it worked out pretty well. And then from there, I actually finally went to the firearms department. So that was a good way for me to get into the industry, get a nice little amount of experience, and then you know, be able to use my time at the gun line of a big corporate store like Gander Mountain, and then branch off to the cooler shops that are Class 3 shops here in Pennsylvania, you know, being able to mess with a bunch of really cool NFA firearms and learn a lot more about that and all of the ridiculous, unconstitutional nonsense that entails. Was always surprised by the stuff that would walk through the door at the gun shop. Never thought I'd get to even touch a full auto Swedish K. Right? You never know, man. That is probably my number one most positive takeaway at a gun shop, is being able to see cool stuff that most people just are never going to be able to see. Now, a side note, if you work at a gun shop that also has a range as part of the facilities, there's a good chance that not only are you going to see a bunch of really cool guns, but you're also probably going to be able to shoot a couple, try some out. Dealers might come, bring you some cool guns to check out, shoot, that they might be selling to the store. So there's a lot of cool factors from there. But if you have no experience whatsoever, a good place to start is that kind of corporate big box chain stores. No, that's not the place I would want to end up, but it's a good place to get some experience and then branch out to the cooler, smaller mom and pop shops and other things that are going to get really cool stuff in the door. What I can tell you guys is, if you're looking for like a high-paying, awesome, you know, future of just money, the gun industry is probably not it. You have to remember, once again, where you are working at the end of the day, although you're handling a bunch of really cool pieces of freedom, it is a retail job at the end of the day. So you get basically a retail job with a bunch of really cool perks. So if you're looking for a hardcore paycheck, retail is just not going to have it. But you can always branch off. You can branch off into, different methods of sales for corporate companies and big manufacturers and different things like that, if that's what you're looking for. For me, I was able to branch off and do this, my pride and joy, which is firearm freedom. I have absolutely love this. You guys have actually helped change my life entirely. You guys, I consider all of you that subscribe to Firearm Freedom one big, awesome, freedom-loving family, and I really appreciate it. Couldn't thank you enough. We just recently hit 20,000 subscribers on this channel, even though I am pretty freaking sure that YouTube has shadow banned me out of existence at this point with how many of you guys let me know that my videos don't show up on your feed any longer, so we try to do what we can, but ultimately this has been one awesome experience, and I hope to continue it and make it grow and become awesome, become a brand that you guys can look up to and trust for reviews, and also grow with things. That's always a positive. Let me pick up my little notebook of joy here, and we'll go down the list. So I don't know. I feel like that answered, hopefully, some of your questions about how to get into the gun industry. If you want to ask me something else, don't worry, man. Or girl, put it down in the comments section, and I'll get back to you. That's all right. That's the lovely thing about live streams. 20,000, right? Awesome. I remember actually, guys, way back when this channel hit 1,000 subscribers a couple years ago. I was actually vacationing in my family's home up in upstate New York. Vacationing, I know, not really the place you probably want to vacation to, but it is what it is. And I remember we hit 1,000 subscribers, and it was probably the best day of my life. It was one of the best days of my life. Obviously, there's been many other things that top 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, but you guys get the point. And it was very, very exciting for me. And I was able to go live, not on YouTube. There was a bunch of problems. You had to download all this software back then, and nothing worked. I went live. I'm like, oh, this sucks. None of it was working. So that is actually how the Instagram live started, because Instagram was just way easier to just pop it up, click live, and you're good to go. But now that YouTube has made it much simpler to just go to your phone, click live, and you're in action. So crazy to think about how far we have come here on the channel. I say we a lot, like I have a whole team behind me. Maybe that's dreaming for the future, but at the moment it's just me. So when I say we, it's really I, but maybe I mean we as in the family, you know what I mean? The Firearm Freedom fam. So thank you guys. So next question on the list, what got you into guns? I get this question a ton. Does anybody really know? You just find yourself 1 minute, not in this world of freedom, and the next minute you are just sitting there freaking out about political legislation every day of your life and worrying about more government overreach. I don't think anybody really ever knows how they got into the gun world, but I'm going to try to answer. I'm going to try to answer that question. So way back in the day, I got started into the firearms world. Firearm Freedom fam, man. We talk about that a lot on the Instagram lives, and I'm excited to bring you part of that. You guys are the heart of the family, and you never get included into the live stream goodness, so I'm happy to change that for you. More of the PC version, though. More of the PC. I have less followers, far less, on Instagram, and I can afford to get maybe a little bit more crazy and hope that somebody doesn't just delete me out of existence because of craziness over there on Instagram. I feel like I'll be held to higher standards here on YouTube. Maybe you guys expect more out of me. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'll try to do my best. But what got me into guns back in the day? So I started shooting with my grandfather probably around the age of 6 or 7. Don't remember exactly when, but I remember shooting a revolver with him back in the day. It was probably a single action at that point. I remember growing up that I might make that a shirt. We'll see, man. Thank you for the suggestion. Suggestion. That came out. Suggestion. There we go. That sounded a little bit better. So I started shooting with my grandfather. Can't remember if it was a single action. I honestly don't know what revolver it was. It was way back in the day. And then I would shoot clay birds with him. I would go, I say hunting, but it was mainly just, birds, small game, whatever else on the farm my grandfather's farm that I grew up on. And, that was a blast for me. Unfortunately, it was upstate New York. So even back when I was 6 or 7 years old, firearms were still and are still now a taboo up in New York. So your experience with guns is going to be fairly limited. It was not as much, I remember my grandfather taking me into Gander Mountain at the time, surprisingly, the place that I would end up working at, and I would see, Farmer Joe, I would see, kind of like cool guns up on the wall. I didn't really know what they were at that point. No clue now what they were, honestly, but legislation was ever so slightly different back then, but really not too much. In fact, probably worse up there in New York. But still, regardless, it got even more taboo as I grew up. So I remember finally becoming of age to buy my own firearms in New York. And unfortunately, right around that time, Sandy Hook was front and center as well. So the moment that I was like, yes, I can finally buy my first firearm and I don't have to bug my grandfather to drag guns out of the safe to go shoot that day, I could finally buy my own, and then Sandy Hook struck and I could not really buy anything. Surprisingly, while that was all going on, so many other people were trying to find anything even close to a semi-automatic rifle in the state of New York, which is generally an abomination at the closest thing to what might resemble an AR, but they would try to locate such things, and I was looking for a Mosin Nagant, of all things at that time, because I had just seen some random YouTube video and I thought they were cool, and I remember standing in line at one of my first gun shops that I went to, and everybody's like, hey man, did you find this? Did you find that? Can you believe what's going on? And I was like, I'm looking for a Mosin Nagant, I don't know. And that shows you how much I really didn't understand yet about the gun world or about legislation. I had no idea. I was 18 years old at the time and really just had no idea. I did get my Mosin Nagant, though, that I overpaid for. Still got it in the safe today. Fun firearm freedom fact, I have yet to sell a single firearm out of my collection yet. Even the guns that do horribly bad here on this channel, and there have been a couple, I have yet to sell one. Surprising fact. But yeah, so I got into the guns, the guns. I got into guns like probably many of you had got into them. And then on top of that, watching older action movies. I grew up watching, I did not grow up in the 80s, but I grew up watching 80s action movies. Commando, massive win for me when it comes down to action movies, and my love of guns just fired up after that movie. Absolutely love it. I've only sold 2. Yeah, man, never sold a gun. Never sold a gun. And you want to know why that is? It's because of my years in the gun industry. I can't tell you how many times where I'd get somebody coming in, and the situation would sometimes go around like, hey, I'm looking for this gun, can't believe I sold it, can't believe I did this or that. But my philosophy behind it, right? I would only sell a gun, even a bad gun, if we severely needed the money. We're about to, not have a place to live or something crazy like that. That would be about the only time I would ever sell a firearm if we really needed the money. But because I have never sold any of the kind of crappy guns in the collection, I have hoarded a big old pile of crappy guns here that are going to be the first to go. They're like sacrifices of the collection. Like, hey, the bills need to get paid. You guys are the first up. The crappy guns go, because my thought process is, hey, I would much rather have a big pile of crappy guns that have been sitting there that I really don't care about, that I kind of wanted to sell anyways. Let's get rid of those, bulk up a little bit of money, and that way I don't have to sell the better ones. So that's just kind of a little gun shop philosophy there for you guys. So hopefully you guys get that. Growing up on the farm, shooting my grandfather's guns, and then on top of that, watching 80s movies, man. Who doesn't watch, like, Predator, and they're like, I want to live in the gun industry? When I saw Commando and I realized there wasn't a little button when I got into the gun industry that led you to, like, a cool room of, like, a bunch of crazy stuff, it really just, it took me a couple of days to recover from that one. So you know, it is what it is. Moving down the list here, why did you start your channel? Another question, I'll give you $20 for the LCP too. Ooh, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's worth 20 bucks for you. 100 people in the comments underneath probably just started savagely typing away at that one. That video gets a ton of hate here on my YouTube channel. Right up there, you know, it's funny. It's like I have probably now over 160 videos. 160 videos on the channel, 25. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. I don't even know. You know, but I make all these new videos, and people either see, it seems like, one of two videos, maybe three. It's either the Ruger AR-556 video, just leave it how it is. That's up there. It's the 8 things not to do in a gun shop, for sure. That goes like top, even though it's the first one I ever made. And then also the LCP series. It's like a bunch of people are like, you know, trying to find those. Branch out, man. View the other cool content that we have here in this crazy little family that we call Firearm Freedom. You like the little head twitch with that? I had to really whip out the freedom, whip it out at you. That'll be taken out of context for sure. Why did you start your channel? So I started my channel, to be honest with you, to talk about guns. I remember sitting at the local grocery store here in Pennsylvania. Please don't whip it out. That's not the platform for that. I'm sorry. So I started this channel, I remember way back in the day. It's kind of funny thinking back. Now here we are on the first live stream. 20,000 of you guys, you know, following the channel now, years later. Blows my mind to think about. It shows you guys that if you really want to do something, just try, man. Just try to do it. I have nowhere near, you know, made my goal, but it's just cool to think about from 0 to 20,000. That's a big milestone for me. So I remember sitting there in the grocery store parking lot, and I'm like, you know, I really talk about I talk a lot, and I talk about guns, and I get yelled at the gun shop that I work at or did work at, for talking a lot about guns. And I also waste a bunch of my money on guns. Is it wasting? I don't know, maybe not, but you know, I blow all my paychecks on guns. Why not have a platform, you know, have a platform where I can just talk to you guys about guns and showcase the guns that I have bought. Firearm Review YouTube channel. So then I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, all right, names, what the hell am I going to call this? What am I going to do? And sure enough, randomly, I was just like, oh, Firearm Freedom. Sounds pretty cool. 2 letters that match. That's like all you need, isn't it? So there we go. That's the name, and I ran with it, and here we are today with a crazy clothing line. Get ready, potential new sticker dropping soon. I know, big news, very exciting. Link should be down in the description, and we will, yeah, we will see. 3 live streams a week. Yeah, we can tell you like to talk, right? Right? You gotta love talking for 3 live streams a week. So, yeah, I love to talk. Wanted the channel, but also I am extremely passionate about the Second Amendment and the freedoms that we should have in this country that unfortunately we don't at the moment. So with that being said, I was very, very passionate about kind of voicing to people the truths in regards to firearms, whether that be truths in reviews or just showing the general population, you know, what these firearms actually do, what they do not do, and trying to just simply spread information. We talk about the truth a lot in the Instagram live streams. We really get down some crazy rabbit holes down that one. So if you want to see more about that, follow the Instagram account. But we talk about truth a lot, and I think that's very important. I think there's not a lot of truth out there in today's world in any aspect of our life, and I feel that with social media, unfortunately, truth has gotten even harder to come by. So if anything, I would love to just simply promote the truth about firearms with this channel. And I always want to promote the truth when it comes to reviews. I always want to give you guys the truth when it comes to how something's performing. And I want to show somebody the truth at how these guns actually work and how they don't work. So very passionate hopefully you guys can get other reasons why I have started, this channel. Hopefully as well, like, so I'm looking at my camera right now, which is, there you are, right there. And hopefully I'm actually looking at you guys. I can't tell because every time I look away to see myself, my eyes switch because the phone's turned. So we'll see after the fact. It's a learning experience. It's number 1, man. It's episode 1 on Firearm Freedom live streams. Hopefully you guys enjoy the thumbnail that I'm going to put on all these. Spent some time on it. My thought process behind this is it obnoxious enough? Does it really frustrate people enough? Is it enough colors that even somebody is colorblind would get frustrated by it? I'm on the right track, and that's really what I went with it. So, we'll see. And I think you can add a thumbnail after on YouTube. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll see. It's a learning experience. Moving down the list. So that's how I started the channel. If I didn't expand enough, again, let me know in the little stream there, which is pretty cool. Other hobbies outside of the gun world. So I do have other hobbies. Kind of the first one of those hobbies is probably guns on top of that, because it really revolves around my entire life. I find it somewhat interesting. I feel like, by no means am I going to name names or anything like that, but I feel like there's always some people out there in the social media gun world that, like they might have a social media account, they might post videos on YouTube, but at the end of the day, they're not like a gun person. You guys ever feel that way? Like, that they post, but like, it's kind of like, it's not really, I'm not into it. I did it to like get views, make money. I'm not a huge fan of that, man. Guns is, it's got to be part of your your soul to really do this, opinion. Do I own a 10 millimeter? I do not, but I would absolutely love to in the future. I would love to get a 10 millimeter with the whole like kind of scraping along right now with the small little amount of ad revenue that I get from YouTube that's getting like slashed in half every day. So with doing stuff like that, as far as getting new guns, that might have to hold off for just a little bit. But I'm going to do what I can. In the future, though, I would love a 10 mil. I'm a huge fan of 10 millimeter as a cartridge. If you guys, anybody that knows me personally and has watched videos on the channel, you'll probably know that, I have a bunch of different calibers in the collection. I do not discriminate against calibers. I do not get super biased. I own pretty much every pistol caliber under the sun at this point, including 40 cal, 45, 9 mil, 380, 9x18, whatever else. Glock or 1911 for 10 millimeter. And you want to increase your income? I'm telling you, Firearm Freedom fam, t-shirts. You got a good point. What's my carry gun? VP9. VP9 is still my carry gun. Absolutely love that pistol. Really had a lot of good experience. I do have a 7.62 by 25. That was something else that I was going to say. Man, can I see what you guys said previously? I don't know. Maybe not. Oh, I can. That's pretty cool. Okay, Glock or 1911 for a 10 mil. I would have to ask, are you looking more practical or like cool factor? For practical, I would say it's very, very tough to beat a 15 rounds in the mag Glock 10 millimeter variant. Whatever variant you were looking at, but more of the full-size offerings versus a full-size 10 millimeter 1911. Is the 10 millimeter 1911 maybe going to shoot a little bit better for you because the grip is slightly slimmer than... Generally, I would not agree that Glocks, you hear the typical thing of, oh, Glocks have a really fatty, boxy grip. I think you mispronounced worse PPQ. That's arguably right. I wouldn't disagree with you there, Andrew. I love the PPQ. I would say the PPQ most definitely has hands down a far better trigger, and there's a lot of positives over the PPQ from the VP9. You guys know I kind of choose one of my concealed carry guns, and for me it was a VP9, and I just don't get away from it. I stick to that. It is what it is. I don't know. 3 lives in a week. You must be going crazy at home, right? I figured, I'm like, you know what? I do 2 live streams What is better than 2 live streams? Three live streams, and here we are, man. Here we are. So, yeah, I would probably go with the Glock 10mm variant over a 1911. Just me. I would love both. If I had to choose one, I'd probably go with the slightly more in the magazine in the Glock variation. Or generally, we're talking maybe 5-6 extra rounds. What state do I live in? I live in the great state of Pennsylvania. Facebook Live on Tuesdays. I could do it. Why did you leave said gun shop? Are they still a viable business? Miami, Florida. That's got to be pretty nice weather at this time of the year. Is it? I don't know. Can you tell I don't travel a lot? Why did I leave the gun shop? So realistically, when everything started going on, as far as like the craziness in the world today, I don't want to start naming it because I'm sure YouTube will get all crazy, but you guys know what's been going on. When that started going on, kind of like the worst place that you wanted to be was at a gun shop, simply because of just the overwhelming amount of people. I'm going to read your question in just a second, but a lot of people. Now that was not necessarily just about fear of what's going on. It's just a lot to really do, a lot to deal with, especially being in a small leadership role at that point. So I started to kind of have to justify, is this worth it at this point in time? Is it not? I had to think about many other issues, and I'm not going to go into them all here. Family related stuff and everything like that. But it was just there was a lot of different things that came into play. A big bulk of that, though, was again just the sheer numbers of people every single day. It was a lot to take in. I know that probably seems like, oh, this guy's a baby, but there was a lot of people. There was more people, probably doubled the amount of people in Sandy Hook. And if you guys have ever worked in a retail environment, waves and waves and waves and waves of very frustrated people, coming at you all day long, really freaked out, really wanting your help, can get, kind of overwhelming pretty fast. So imagine, for those of my fellow retail employees out there, imagine Black Friday times 2 every day of the week, and that was about that was about what was going on. So, nothing, no other problems or anything like that. It was definitely very overwhelming, and unfortunately, here we are today. Now, luckily, things are kind of being more low key now, but definitely kind of overwhelming, and I just needed a little bit of a break from the hordes of retail customers. Kind of zombieing, coming in, looking for whatever they needed. I love helping people out, but it was a lot. So that was a big reason. Now let me read back that comment that I might have missed here. What's your opinion on the Beretta 92 FS? I bought one as my first gun some months back. I actually love the Berettas. I think they're really cool guns. It's funny, way back in the day when I first started this channel, I might have said things in other videos, like first video or second video, that were opinions that I definitely don't mirror now. Back in the day, I thought that the Berettas maybe didn't shoot as good, but that was me not shooting them good. Since then, I own a Beretta 92, love it, and I think they really are great guns. In my opinion, the Beretta 92 really gets overshadowed in its military history. I feel like a lot of people hate on the Beretta. I've never been in military service, so I can't give you guys a first-hand account. But from people that I've talked to, that really hate on it, a lot of those people, unfortunately, it seems like got a really beat Beretta 92 that maybe should have been retired, but was just not, and then fed some crappy armoring parts that, maybe weren't in the budget to get the parts that it needed or the gun replaced. And unfortunately, a lot of those guns have seen many, many better days. So I think that's what ultimately gave the Beretta kind of like a bad name in the service. But honestly, I still see that as a super cool, super iconic gun, reliable gun, and one that I have a Beretta 92S. Unfortunately, that video that I had here on YouTube did get deleted for some reason. Not sure why YouTube deemed it so bad that it needed to be deleted off of my channel. But that video has since been deleted, and I will maybe re-up it in the future. We'll see. But that's a 92S. I would love to get a 92 FS, just a more modern variation. I feel like it's just your collection's not whole without one. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Other hobbies outside of the gun world. What do I have? So more recently, I've always been into like books and learning and reading. I know that sounds. What are your other hobbies? Well, I like to learn and books. It's probably not what you guys expected or wanted to hear. But with that being said, yeah, I love reading more recently. Love historic books, but I also love like crazy, out there, all over the place, weird political books. I've been reading a lot more recently. We talk about that a lot on Instagram, the other social media accounts. I always show you guys small little like book reviews on things that I've read. Definitely not your usual books that you're probably used to seeing, but books that I absolutely love and love learning about. So reading takes up a lot of my time. Sound like the most boring person in the world. Big part of my life, aside from, gun industry, reading, learning more about guns, politics, whatever else, is the fitness world. So for those of you guys that don't know, I have actually been competing in the fitness world in bodybuilding and powerlifting for actually a little over 11 years straight now. I was a certified personal trainer for a couple of years, did that freelance along with competing, and that has been a massive, massive part of my life. So that is actually just as equally a part of my life as the firearms are for me as far as a hobby. And drinking jugs of water, exactly. That's a huge hobby inside joke from my Instagram, from my Instagram lives. But yeah, so the fitness world has been a huge part, and that's actually kind of part of the reason why I started the secondary channel, which has a lot of this other hobby stuff as far as the FF Lifestyle channel. The link should be in the description, so click it somewhere on this and you guys will be able to check it out. But yeah, so fitness, huge portion of my life. And then also, believe it or not, like some boarding sports, so skateboarding and snowboarding. That's kind of like the other two big things. Massively into skateboarding, snowboarding. Yeah, skateboarding, I've actually been doing that for a big bulk of my life. That's been kind of an on and off thing. I mean, I think a lot of people out there maybe messed around with a skateboard when they were younger and just kind of forgot about it. Tony, what is up, man? So many people, they might have been messing around with a skateboard, maybe forgot about it at some point in their life. I was one of the weirdos that was like, I want to pick this back up again in my adult years and die whenever I fall. So now I get laughed at by people passing by in the street when my adult self gets like thrown on the pavement and bodied out in the middle of the sidewalk. I showed Rodney Mullen a thing or two. I'm sure you did, man. I'm sure you did. So yeah, it's fun. It's one of the few things that I do that kind of like, stress reliever, you know what I mean? A big thing in my life is family, hanging out with Mrs. Freedom, one of my best friends for sure. How to faceplant like a pro, man. So Mrs. Freedom is definitely one of my best friends on the planet. So, not many things are de-stressors. Hanging out with the family is one, and skateboarding, snowboarding, kind of getting outside and doing, man, got something in my eye, doing outside sports, that is going to be another. Just one of the few things, stress relief. You might say books are a stress relief, but generally when you're reading like hardcore controversial political books, it's kind of the opposite of a stress relief, and it's more so like an anxiety pill. We'll see. I don't know. Moving on down the list. Couple questions left. So my guess, what kind of food are you into? Interesting question. I like that. I am like the pickiest eater on the planet. Like I'm one of those people that like salt is a lot. You know what I mean? Not quite to that extent, but you guys get what I'm saying. I've been a picky eater my entire life, so I guess that's kind of how the like fitness world worked for me, because I'm like, I already don't like a lot of stuff, so it just kind of works to compete in the fitness world and have like a crappy diet. But yeah, with that being said, I'm one of those people where like if I'm on the off season, I am kind of really eating a standard amount. I count macros and calories, but I don't get on any sort of a hardcore diet unless I am on season, getting ready for a competition or anything like that. I just try to like live my life, put on size, get strong, especially now that my concern is mainly with powerlifting competitions. So yeah, lost 60 pounds recently. Man, congratulations on that. That is like huge. You should be so proud of that, man. That is incredible. I've heard keto has worked for quite a few people. I've never tried it myself. I've always stuck to kind of the traditional dieting, standards. That's kind of what my coach had me on for a while there, so kind of standard. Fun fact, this is actually not my first YouTube channel. I actually had a fitness YouTube channel way back in the day. It is one of the cringiest moments of my life. That channel has long since been gone. But being able to watch way back to the old edited videos of like 15, 14, and 16-year-old me talking about fitness stuff is probably the cringiest stuff I've ever seen in my life. So there's that. You know what I mean? Fun YouTube live side note here. I would imagine maybe we'll go to about an hour mark. I think on YouTube you can go like over an hour. I don't know. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. It's crazy that some of you guys you would listen to me for over an hour. That's incredible. Wow. What did you learn from working in a gun shop? So, wow, I learned a lot more than I could ever say here on this live stream from working in a gun shop. I have seen so much stuff. I have seen so much memes come to life with customers and employees at gun shops. It's not even funny, and that's really all that matters, is seeing a meme present itself in life, like it actually that is the individual that meme came from. That's always fun. And then seeing a bunch of really cool guns is probably like the number one thing. Seeing a bunch of cool guns, shooting a bunch of cool guns, and then on top of that, helping people out get firearms to protect themselves. That was probably the most rewarding thing about my job, is that I was able to help people every single day. And I can tell you guys, a bulk of those people were not gun owners, had never owned a gun in their life. So for me, it was my small little sliver being able to show somebody kind of the cool positives about the gun world. Show people, that the gun world is not just about hunting and taking your brand new bolt action out hunting with you with your NRA sponsorship. I was able to show them really what the Second Amendment is truly for, show them the ability to have firearms for defense, show them the difference between guns that are great for defense, guns that are bad, maybe not the best for defense, and guns that you should stray away from and keep on the collector side. I was able to really help them understand things. I had the chance to teach classes on that at times. I had a chance to teach employees about that at times, which was extremely rewarding, and I will never forget that. And that is something that I will hold with me forever. That was awesome. And to think back at all the people that I was able to help maybe leave the gun shop that day feeling like, wow, the gun world is a super welcoming place. I want to go back. For all the people that I saw come into the gun shop, and I saw them there their very first day in a gun shop, and I saw them become, repeat customers years later, is just a very, very rewarding experience. It's really cool. And although, maybe that really didn't do anything, it's really cool to think about. So that was probably like the number one top takeaway that I've done working in a gun shop, aside from like learning so much stuff. You are not going to learn what you learn at a gun shop, at home, on YouTube, even buying guns, going to gun shops. You see a lot of what happens behind the scenes at a gun shop. You learn a lot about the unconstitutional, ridiculous of paperwork, of NFA stuff, and it really goes across the board. So the amount of stuff that you learn working at a gun shop is pretty incredible, and that is something else that I will keep with me forever. That's something that I've learned learned a ton about armoring work, gunsmithing, a bunch of random stuff that I really, really appreciate. So learned a lot in a gun shop. Next down the list, we got 2 questions left. 2 questions. Probably be wrapping it up here at around the hour mark. So thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in to this first freaking live stream on YouTube. This is so cool. What is your favorite gun? I'll start first because I had this down. You guys are lucky you don't have to go through a 10-day waiting period here in California. I know, man. I know. AR versus AK. Wow, that's a big question. That might be next week's live stream. Maybe is that like, has that dead horse been beaten enough, or do I need to beat it again in next week's live stream? Again, you sick-minded people taking that out of context. Come on. This is the PC FF live stream. This is the PC. Come on. Immediately taken down. Channel's just done. What is your favorite gun? So I actually did have an answer to this. I did have an answer to this previously as one gun, and some of you might be surprised. Maybe this is the wrong answer. I don't know. We'll see. But it would actually probably have to be my Uzi Model B, my original IMI Uzi Model B. If I had to choose one gun out of my collection, not for practical, just cool factor, one of my favorite guns, it would have to be my Uzi Model B. That is one gun. Like, I have a lot of guns in my collection. I was kind of thinking about this, that, are clones of the real deal. They're clones of it. They are like, they're really, really cool. They're built off parts kits. They're built off, all these other like cool guns, but they're not the real thing, like they're not that gun. The Uzi Model B for me is that gun. It is the gun that's like, that is it. You know what I mean? It's not the fully real gun. You know what I mean? It's not the fully like, hey, this is a select fire Uzi, but there is no other Uzi like it. There's a lot of other like, oddballs that have come up over time, but there's none like it, and that gun is probably my only gun that's like a true, that is built in the 80s, that's the Uzi, and I really love it. As far as top 5 guns, man, I don't even know if I could fully answer that without giving it like more of a thought, so I'm going to save that for another live stream. Actually, I'll tell you guys what, I'm going to quickly answer this last question, all right? And then I'm going to go through, I saw a bunch of you guys commented real quick. So I am going to go through your comments, and that'll be like kind of like the final, is any last questions that you guys have. And then we're going to talk about where these live streams are going to go moving forward, which is a huge cool factor. So best weapon light for home defense. I got this question specifically for this live stream, and I want to answer it for you guys. So personally, in my opinion, the best weapon light right now for home defense that I have is my Streamlight TLR1 HL. The HL is going to be the 800 lumen light. They now have a 1000 lumen light, if I'm not mistaken. So a version of that TLR1. But the TLR1 is pretty phenomenal. Why I think that is probably the best weapon light for home defense is simply because it can be put not only on a handgun, I can plop it up on my rifle. It's very versatile, and there's a lot of different options for that. I've actually ran that light on a shotgun, rifle, and handgun, and I've really liked it on all aspects of everything that I've ran it on. So really cool light, really enjoy it. Aside from that, I am going to be taking a look at actually a couple more Streamlight products, a TLR9 I think they're at now, so that is coming very soon on the channel. So I don't know, it might change. I've seen some really cool stuff about the TLR9 that seems so weird to say out loud. There's so many different variations now. But I'm excited to take a look at that. I'm also going to take a look at their new rifle light, see how that goes on a couple of different guns in the collection. So that'll be fun. Let me take a look at some of your questions here as well. And then we'll finish this up, man. We will finish this up. Do you look up to any particular people in the firearms industry, and do you frequently watch live streams and other channels? Where would you like to see your channel in a year? Incredible questions. Thank you. So this might sound bad as far as this goes, but I don't watch too much other YouTube videos. I do watch a couple. I have some people that I've been, watching for a bit. I don't know if I necessarily look up to anybody in the gun industry. I don't know, man. I don't want that to sound bad, but I feel like instead of trying to look up to somebody else, I feel like a lot of people continuously, they pick a figure out in their life, and they want to look up to that person. They want to kind of like be that person, really like emulate them. Is that the right word? You guys will learn in these live streams like how illiterate I really am with a lot of things, so I do apologize for that. But you try to like be that person, and for me, I've always tried to like, not to sound that guy, but turn the energy around and try to focus on me and what I'm doing to be the best me that I want to be, if that sounds right. So I don't know if I necessarily look up to somebody. There's definitely, I respect a lot of people out there. I think it's very important to respect other people, respect what those other individuals have done, and really, honor that. But I don't know if there's a need to like emulate somebody, want to be somebody, and kind of have that person be your hero, So I respect a lot of people. I don't really have as many like heroes in the gun world. There's a lot of things that I want to do with the channel as far as where I want to be in a year, exactly where we are now, but larger. I want to grow the outreach that we have here on Firearm Freedom, because the more people that I can get watching these videos, the more little tidbits of freedom information I can spread for all of you guys to see and hear, which is pretty cool. So the more people that watch, the more this brand, the more this family, this lifestyle grows, and I couldn't be happier for that. So very, very excited. I just simply, in a year, am wanting to up the quality, up the amount of videos. Now that I have these live streams, I'm going to be continuing these live streams. Hopefully, we will be doing these live streams now every Friday, picking a topic and figuring this out. It seems that 6 p.m. is a relatively good time for you guys. Let me know in the comments underneath this video if it is not, and we'll figure something out. But either way, we will do next week's live stream here on YouTube at 6 p.m. on Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if that starts getting odd, or it's not working, or whatever else as far as times, I might be switching it up, but I'm going to shoot for one live stream a week, no pun intended. Okay, so did that answer your question? I hope it wasn't like super like, I didn't want to sound full of myself by saying that I don't have like a bunch of heroes, but I hope you guys get what I mean by really trying to better yourself. And maybe, there's nothing wrong with some people bettering themselves by, looking up to other people, but I definitely think that you can utilize a lot of that energy to try to better yourself, Sorry guys, I'm trying to like look up at your comments. Okay, I think I got them all. If I didn't, I do apologize. But type them in, final questions. We got a couple minutes left. I'm used to Instagram, so I actually don't know. Do these live streams end at an hour? Do they not? What's the deal? Those of you guys that I don't watch many YouTube live streams, so let me know. I don't know. It might go on, might not. Maybe it just ends at an hour and it's a see you later. I don't know. But any last questions? If you guys have any other questions you want me to answer in this Q&A, type them down and let me know, and I will answer them for you right now. All our phones will blow up after an hour. I hope not. That's not great. So, yeah, any other questions, let me know. I'll give you guys a couple seconds. Type it in. Fun fact, I don't think you can actually have a gun shown in a YouTube live stream, I've heard, so I didn't want to take any risks. So there aren't going to be any in these live streams, but it feels weird. Normally on Instagram, I got a little co-host, a rifle or something sitting here. I don't know what to do with my hands. A lot of people comment on that. I talk with my hands too much in the videos. I don't know how I can help that. How is your garden growing? It's actually going pretty good. So I have a small little garden in the backyard, trying to be more self-sufficient. Unfortunately, a bulk of my plants that survive the little germinating seed pods are cucumbers. So we have like an Amazon forest of cucumbers in the backyard, and that's pretty much it. But they're coming along pretty good. I got some small little cucumbers looking pretty cool. I'm not even going to answer that, but no, I do not. How's the Faro Concepts plate carrier holding up? It is holding up great. I actually have another plate carrier coming to the channel very, very soon by HRT, which is pretty exciting. Thoughts on SIG Romeo 5 for first red dot for an AR? I've had nothing but good experience with the Romeo 5s. I have used them not on my firearms, but on other firearms, along with the Crossfire 2, which I think is a comparable optic from Vortex. A couple of primary arms optics are comparable as well. So the SIG Romeo 5, awesome red dot for the money. The cool thing about those is it seems a lot of companies partner with SIG because they're always on sale. So you can generally find the Romeo 5s with the riser for really, really good prices, which is pretty freaking cool. So I actually am probably going to be picking one of those up very, very soon. But you can have guns on the wall. Really? That's so weird, but it doesn't surprise me because YouTube is weird, you know? It just is odd. This is a weird platform. Unfortunately, it's just kind of like what we got at the moment, so it is what it is, you know? A lot of people say they're always like, well, why do you guys go on YouTube? Why don't you know? I don't support YouTube. I don't really support YouTube either, but unfortunately every other sister platform has epically failed pretty bad. So if you guys can come up with an extra platform that actually gets the same traffic, that would be pretty awesome. Come on, little chat system. Come on. There we go. The next gun I'm aiming for is a Mossberg Maverick 88 18.5 inch 12 gauge. Nice. So the Maverick 88s are pretty solid. What I would tell you, if you can save up any extra money or there's layaway available, I'd highly recommend going with a Mossberg 500, even a basic Mossberg 500. You can find a basic model in the 18.5 inch for sometimes like 350 bucks. Maybe it's on sale for less, maybe it's a little bit more, but generally a Maverick 88 is 199 to 220 bucks. Now, the reason why I say to save up the extra 100 bucks if you can is because the Mossberg 500 is just a little bit more modular when it comes to the fore-end capabilities for switching things out. So the Maverick 88, great option. If you need a shotgun right now, no other options available. You need this right now. You only have the 225 bucks or whatever else. I get it. Totally understand. If you're looking for something to, you know, kind of build out over time, the Mossberg 500 is really handy because you don't have to worry about all the weird fitment issues with the Maverick 88. The stock set will change out with the Maverick 88, but the fore end will not. You have to replace the entire fore end. It's kind of a big deal, kind of annoying. So if you could save out the extra little bit of money for the 500, options are a lot better. So that would be the only thing I say about it. Andrew, police trade in Mossbergs are all over Gunbroker. You're so right. They really, really are. And that's a great point. You can come across a used Mossberg 500, probably barely even shot, for around the same price as a Maverick 88. So I would look around. Definitely check out the Mossberg 500 though, for sure. Maverick 88, great, reliable, just less modular. Oh, no problem at all, man. All right, guys. So I think I answered all the questions. This is so exciting. I am so happy to be here on YouTube. Any knowledge on big bore revolvers, saving up for a 460? 460, I would definitely go with over a 500. I don't have any big bore revolvers myself. You know, I would love to get one in the future. It's just there's the list of guns that need to be next on the channel for purchasing. That would be at the very bottom because there's many other guns that serve many other purposes, reviews, whatever, that those guns just really don't. They're cool. Show off with your friends every now and again, but you know, as far as practical reasons, now if you're taking one like up to Alaska with you or looking for some animal protection or something like that, maybe. But I will say that the 460 over the 500 is a much better choice simply for the variety of ammunition that the 460 has. 500, it's Mossberg 500. I still got that on mine. It is 500 Smith & Wesson. You got a couple different loads for that, but that's pretty much it. With 460, you got a couple of other options. So that would be the benefit over the 460. I would definitely probably go with hunting deer with it. Okay, perfect. So that's actually a really practical use for the 460. So I would definitely go with the longer barrel 460. Obviously, check out the ballistics, see what meets you well. I would personally, I don't know. I would look at a couple different options, maybe shoot a couple if you got a buddy that has one, and just figure out what feels best for you. Look up reviews. I don't have any on my channel, unfortunately, but how the timing fares, that's something that's really to be concerned with on a super big bore revolver. Timing can go off over time, and it's going to go off faster than with a very large cartridge like that. So kind of be aware of that. How do these guns wear over time? That's going to be important. Okay, last question, then I'm going to wrap it up here. Do you own a 300 Win Mag? I do not. Would love to. Super cool caliber, super cool guns, but I do not, no. Really the largest rifle caliber I have right now is 30-06, actually. Fun fact about the FF compound here. So, that is pretty much gonna end this live stream. I actually don't know how to end it, so I'm gonna play around with a couple of different buttons here. Hopefully I save it, because that would really suck if I don't. But thank you. This is already gonna go great. Thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. I am very excited to continue on these live streams and really be able to connect with more of you guys in a live platform here on YouTube. If you want to see more live streams, different topics, kind of all over the board topics, definitely hit me up on Instagram over at firearm_freedom, and it is pretty awesome. Fun stream while my COD Modern Warfare was updating. Hey man, those updates will get you. They will get you so bad. I'll log on and it's like, well, you can play in 10 hours. And I'm like, wow, awesome, great. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Love you too, buddy. Thank you, thank you so much. So if you guys have any other questions, you guys know, let me know down in the comments section. Hopefully I can post a description under this live stream, and what I'm going to do is actually just post the regular description. So that means the beach channel will be in there, the merchandise store will be in there, and then also the links to the Firearm Freedom Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account. Definitely give those a follow. You're not going to want to miss the daily posts that go on every single day over on those accounts. Some awesome gun pictures. And then aside from that, if you guys like the videos that I'm posting here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. It is definitely something that you're going to want to do, because YouTube consistently shadow bans my content. So hit that bell. Hopefully you get a notification. If you don't, type in Firearm Freedom. Hopefully it'll bring you right to me so you don't miss out on the content. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try to end it now. You guys have a great night, and thanks for watching. All right. Now let me see if I can actually end it. There we go. All right, guys. Have a great night.